Alza la mano si tú estás gozando. Alza la mano si tú estás gozando. Muévelo, muévelo, que sabroso.
For the fights with the Champions Rise 305, donde suben los campeones, we have the honor and the pleasure. Right after one Mambi, we have the young generation of Mambi. We've had this gentleman before, No Way Jose Caceres. And again, we have the essence, we have the evolution. He's a coach himself. Thank you so much always for giving us the privilege of interviewing you, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Elio.
I love what you have on. Okay, you see that's my Guangdong, my Chinese general. He's a general because in the martial arts we want to teach generals, not soldiers. Soldiers follow blindly, like you see now on the internet, everybody follows blindly. But generals, they're leaders. And I'm very, I have a lot of affinity with Asian martial arts. I know you have affinity with Asian martial arts. Before we start the show, tell everybody your name, your background, where you're from, where your parents are from.
I'm Jose Caceres, also known as No Way Jose, from Miami, Florida. I'm an American, and my mom and dad are Cuban Dominican.
In the 305, you have people from Central South America, the Caribbean, and the United States is built on immigrants. Going back from the Irish, the Italian, they all came with a dream to rise. So watch out, because they didn't have the opportunity wherever they're at. So that's why we have to honor the opportunity and have that warrior spirit, and I think we bring that warrior spirit. You are a professional fighter. You've been the champion through the fights in grappling. Tell us a little bit about your amateur and your professional career.
Well, we can go way back to, when I was wrestling back in middle school, where I didn't even make the team till in high school. I made my first debut as a wrestler. I would consider that my amateur career in martial arts. I knew nothing else until I met Enrico Coco, who took me to his school, where he practiced jiu-jitsu. That's where I was exposed to this mixed martial arts world, where I was able to hang out with fighters and just train wrestling and sharpen my skills so that I can just champion at anything I pursue.
Let me ask you, since we're talking about the amateurs,
right?
For all these young and coming amateurs that we have into our fights and all the leagues, what would be the suggestion for them to practice and to have prepared to go further into the other professionals and whatnot?
To definitely just make sure you want to do this. I think that's going to be fundamental. Make sure you want to do this, and the only way you're going to find out is by trying it out. And then I feel like once that's established, you figure out what you want to do. It doesn't matter what base you want, whether it be taekwondo, karate, wrestling. Start early and just enjoy the process and just keep honing the skills of that, let's say, fundamental aspect that you like of mixed martial arts.
Excellent. I had read, I don't know if it was Socrates, he said to win or be victorious, you only need two things: to begin and not to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that drive is really what pushes it. Now, in your professional careers, talking to you about professional career, and we're going to highlight these new, exciting opportunities that you're getting in your professional career.
Yes, man. It's awesome that I actually decided to just reinvent myself and just, from changing my ring name to even going into a different weight class. I want to go, bring out what I've been just working on just in this new division, which is going to be the lightweight division now.
Awesome. And you reminded me, I have a quote that I always work every day, and I have a quote from Confucius. He said, if you have a goal that is obviously not working, don't change the goal. Change your action steps. So just take the steps of action you were taking before, just change those. And that's what it sounds like you're doing. And we talked a little bit about it, the new breed, because we try to cover all the events, that you switched to Southpaw. What weight class did you switch now to?
To the lightweight division, 155.
155?
Yes.
And let me ask you a question, and that was good. And listen, we're always reinventing and
And evolving.
And evolving,
Yeah.
always. That's why I like the Chinese, because they follow nature. That's a principle of the universe, is evolution. That's why he said essence, innovation, and evolution. And you're always evolving. And I've seen you evolved, and that's super great. What do you think in this evolution is going to help you? What's going to be the change in this evolution?
It's gonna bring more success into the career that I pursue, which
Yeah,
is
and then tactically, I told you that going southpaw. I mean, we're not going to give all the secrets here on the radio.
Oh man, yeah, but we could talk about that because I did mention to you earlier about
Yeah.
about a few weeks back about how I actually am now enjoying to fight in a southpaw versus a orthodox.
Correct.
Because I know I write with my right hand. I do everything with my right hand, but I feel like precision, reaction, balance, everything is a lot more dominant when I have that my dominant leg in the front. Where I don't know, it just feels better. It's a feeling. It's something that my words can't describe it. You
Oh, no,
have
no,
to
and
just,
martial arts is a
definitely
feeling.
internal.
Yes,
Yeah.
and definitely martial. You said two words that internal and feeling. And
Yeah.
with due respect, my understanding at this point in time, I agree 100%. Look, Bruce Lee was right-handed, but he fought with his right hand forward,
Right on.
lead. Why? Because when he punched you or jabbed you, he wanted his first punch to be the strongest. So he hit you with his power hand. Two, tactically, he's moving in a certain direction that he always could switch up, and he catches you with the switch. So he saw the physical and the tactical advantage. And the weight class, the different weight class. How do you feel that's going to be different?
Oh man, it's just it just feels like when I was younger, I just was a little bit more stubborn and losing the weight. Maybe I just wanted to have more muscle to attract girls, or just have on size just for no reason. I was pursuing that, but it was hard to manage because it was a lot of calorie intake and a lot of it's definitely very tedious work to stay heavy, because if you've ever been in our gym, it's a really hot place.
Oh yes, I've
And we
been.
sweat a lot,
And by the way, I
and
love the heat. Anyways.
we grind it out every day, and I'm like, man, you know what? I'm averaging every day. I'm 33 years old now, and my daughter's 7, and I feel like I have nothing. I have a wife now, and I don't have nothing else to prove or to show off. I'm like, let me just cut the weight. I don't care how I look. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go with how I feel, and this feels a lot better for a career move, not like for aesthetics. I'm just trying to
That's very good for important.
make waves in this division.
Not important, but a bigger reason. And look, I totally agree with you that this is something we could speak with the master also about. I was talking to somebody about training. It's so different. When you train for something, you have to understand the goal you're training for. Sometimes when I train fighters, what I see is that they're trained to be fighters, but they're working out like bodybuilders. And a bodybuilder has a different training than a fighter. The weight training is different. The physique is different. And so I see a lot of people training, but they're not. What is the specific task you're training for? And sometimes your mind doesn't want to accept that, because in the media they tell you you gotta look like
this
to be like this,
like Men's Health cover,
Exactly. But that's not how you have to look to be a gladiator. A gladiator trains a different way and looks a different way.
Right on.
A swimmer. Why do you think a swimmer has a back like this? And if a swimmer didn't look like that and train like that, he couldn't progress in his field. So that's a very good point. Tell us about this new opportunities and deals that you just got in fighting. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited about that too. It was just like blessings just falling on my lap. Just literally, I did the test cut without telling nobody in the gym, just kind of like me and a couple of guys. Actually, one of my ex-opponents, Michael Lombardo, who was coming in, for his camp for his contenders, Dana White's Contender Series.
Congratulations, yes.
And he was training with us, and during that whole camp with him, he'll come twice a week. I was also managing, let me see if I can do a test cut to 155 and see if I can actually even do it with my height. And due to COVID-19, I've actually implemented a lot of tea drinking. Drinking a lot of green tea, chamomile tea, all kinds of teas.
Oh, now you're going into my Chinese people. Yeah, I know.
Straight up, man. And I started noticing that the weight started coming off even easier. I was just during my training, I would, instead of drinking cold water or Gatorade or something like that, I'll wait for that for after training. But during training, I'll be having hot tea. And I stepped on the scale and I was like, wait a second, I'm what and 167? I was like, wow, I'm actually almost there. So let me just keep going. Let me keep pushing. I pushed it. I even did a little bit of fasting, And eventually I was able to hit it, and I was like, as soon as I hit it, this contract for XFC came out of nowhere through First Rounds Management's Dave Marvello.
Congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Let's
For a 3-fight deal at
Yeah.
a tournament style at 155.
And let's promote this young man. Let's see that event. Let's sponsor each other. By the way, your social media handle?
Is the No Show Joe on IG.
Yeah, you know, like I said, you're always learning from different people. I was renting out my school once to a yoga teacher. And then I got into yoga, and I remember that he had this hot water and tea. And I like the heat. I train in the heat. I turn the air conditioning. Everybody hates me. but and I was dying of thirst. And he grabs this hot thing and he goes, "Oh, it's so delicious." And I started talking to him. He goes, "Listen, how hot?" And he took my temperature. "How hot are you? Hot. How much hotter are you inside? If you took a hot engine of a car and you put cold water, what would it do? It would crack the engine." And yes, correct. and you know what's funny? You know, I'm 175 on a good day when I don't have my pizza and ice cream, but I'm a little bit heavy now.
Yeah, yeah.
But I fought at 155. And
Yeah,
it was
we're about the same height too.
and it was and it was no deal. And he kind of opened my mind to this other, you know, your mentality change. When mentality change, things change.
Mhm.
One of these days these are happening, so we want to make sure we're on top of it.
Oh, it's going to be happening November 11th, and I think it'll be broadcast through NBC Sports.
Awesome. Congratulations. So happy for you. You deserve it. Your people deserve it.
Thank you.
Okay. You also teach and you're also a coach. I've seen your
Yes.
classes. I think this is great. I'll tell you why. I think as an active competitor, teaching gives you a different view that helps you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like teaching definitely gives me like kind of like a platform where I'm able to, you know, convey and display like, let's say, ideas that I've had or trainings that I've done. And when I watch other students do this, is actually giving me kind of like tools to work with, so I can get, like, you know, let's say manipulate, let's say, some of the outcomes of and probabilities with just by observation and just me feeling it within, and then trying to like display from what I'm feeling to without. And I feel like I share that information pretty well with the students that I have.
That's awesome. And you know, and this is what I like, because now we're talking about high IQ, and
Yeah.
I like that. You said, because my teacher told me you always to train for predictable results. That's why I call it an art and science. And you said, I'll come in probability, and I deal with probability, possibilities, and percentages. And that happened to me is I was teaching when they go for the single leg to bend the leg, catch his arm, and then come around. And as I was teaching it, he came around, got his arm around my neck, and he got me to make a joke and choked me out. And I said, "Oh, I have to rethink this move." And right there, I learned from a move that I was teaching that I had to secure my positioning with my arm so he couldn't take my back.
Mm-hmm.
So just from that perspective, I see that, and I said, man, if you're a competitor, this will give you that point of view that's necessary.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you a quick overview of the present condition of combat sports, things that are happening in UFC or Bellator or anywhere else anything you're looking forward to seeing or happening.
You mean this fight that's coming up right now with
Yes.
Anderson Silva and Uriah Hall? I'm really looking forward to that. You know, I'm a huge Anderson Silva fan, and I like Uriah Hall, and I like the way he carries himself in the mixed martial arts
Yes,
world.
they both carry
They both, very well.
Yeah, and your has a very good spinning back kick.
Yeah,
Get to
which,
the body.
which you mean, like, you know, I definitely am down with all that spinning stuff. So
Yeah.
like, I like their style. You know, I had the privilege and honor to meet Anderson Silva, you know, before he was a champion,
Oh, great.
and it was cool to watch him rise and see how far he's made it. And I'm like, you can just see that kind of guy enjoys what he's doing. That's why he can do it till like he's 40.
And in general, the present condition of combat sports, how do you see it? Because all I see is opportunities. You just got a contract. We have new companies like Global Legion. I'm the type of person that now during these times, everybody's seeing duress and stress, and I don't know. I just see opportunities and things that are expanding. Maybe because I research pursue possibilities. What do you think about the present condition as far as the arena of combat sports today?
I mean, right now there's definitely going to be some changes and differences right now because of our present conditions throughout this crisis, and how fighters have to, like, you know, go through these tests to fight. And on top of that, like like, you know, just people just living in this, like, you know, fear. And
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. We just mentioned it earlier before. We have bare knuckles coming up.
Right.
That's a big thing that's coming up now. Boxing and MMA are exchanging and getting involved with each other. Yes, people have had to spend some time with themselves, but you know what that's made them do? Train by themselves, look at themselves, readapt themselves.
yes,
I've seen people spend more time with their families that they never been before. And if you look at the history of man, even in the United States, if you're thinking we're going through hard times now,
there was some hard times back then.
take a good look at history. The Chinese went through the Mao Zedong, the revolution, the Chinese Revolution, the communism. Okay, they extended up to 9 generations. That means if you were against the revolution or the communism, they would kill you in 9 generations because they wanted to wipe out the name Cáceres. I have a teacher, he talks to me about this and he cries. So whenever you think that we're actually going to a real crisis, do a little bit of research on his story,
His story. Right on.
and you're going to see some real crisis. You know, we were talking about the lady that I met that was in the Holocaust.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there was actually it's funny. There was actually a guy with her that helped her, and this guy, they were doing experiments on him. And you know what he was thinking when they were doing experiments in these horrible places in the Holocaust? How when he got out, he was going to write a book on how he survived. And he got out, he wrote the book, and the book got a bestseller. Now you think about researching possibilities and real hard times. By the way, what's that book you have over there?
Oh man, this book is it's a great book. I feel like, you know, it's a significant read for like anybody that just wants to just further their knowledge about concepts and intellectuality about power versus force, the hidden determinants of human behavior, by David R. Hawking. He's like an MD and has a PhD.
Oh yeah, power versus force. I like that. The
Yeah.
Chinese say in combat, use your strength against his weakness. So that's a very good point. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I say readers are leaders.
Right.
And I make a joke. I said, you're going to give martial artists a bad name because you're reading. Now, talk to me a little bit about the guys that you're coaching, the students that you're coaching, the young athletes that you're coaching. What advice would you give to them?
The only advice is that, like, just don't let your current like situations, you know, and mindsets govern your decisions that you need to be making every day.
Excellent. That's a great.
Like if you're at home and your career is to mixed martial arts fight, your choices are very limited. It's not to stay home and not mixed martial arts train. You have to go to the gym and train.
Yes, that's
That's-
great advice. And without, I don't know, maybe without knowing, you said something very wise. Malcolm X, before he became Malcolm X in prison, he changed his name and he became a writer. He said a quote, "A situation doesn't make a man, it reveals the man."
Nice.
Right. So like the Three Stooges says, don't be a victim of circumstance. I
Yeah.
think this is a great positive way to finish the show. If you need to contact any of these gentlemen, if we can help you in any way, 305 Fights is where the champions rise. Any shouts out before we leave to anybody, your family, your people?
I want to give a shout out to my mom and my dad, you know, for that unconditional, you know, awesome love that they keep sharing with me. My brother, my sister, you know, my coaches, Manolo Lopez and Ray Fondura, all the people I contact in my life, and all those students that I keep engaging with, that keeps giving me like just this endless pursuit to constantly better myself and bettering other people, which I'll never run out if I constantly be serving people.
Correct. And you have a great team around you, and in the future, you'll be the team around everybody else.
Yeah.
Vamos a terminar el podcast. I'm going to finish with a Chinese phrase since you have your Chinese thing. It's Min Ming Sang Di, which means thanks, God's mercy, and blessings. Muchas gracias, 305.
Alza la mano si tú estás gozando. Alza la mano si tú estás gozando. Muévelo, muévelo, que sabrosa.